Ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and ladies, and the ones who are gentlemanly ladies. This is, of course, an LGBTQ friendly plus non binary, gender androgynous, multicultural friendly cup of coffee. Late hour, almost 18 minutes to midnight, February 13th. Continuing on the last discussion of the stock market, I want to reiterate on Friday the 2nd it fell 666 points, which was a big drop, and then again the week after it dropped the record. I think the record for the in terms of points for the Dow Jones that ever in one day of trading that it lost so many points. I think it was close to 1,200 points. Of course, trading has continued, and there's been a correction, which is the term used. Of course, a correction implies that there was an error to correct. My question is, in terms of discerning and asking questions, as if you have a cup of coffee with me, we ask questions and we ask questions and we question the question. So so the word implies that the financial experts and market experts and economists use is correction. If you remember in high school, university, college, you were corrected, the correction came, the correction was on those that you made the mistakes, on the errors. The word implies that it was a mistake. My question is, in which nobody, from what I've been reading the news and keeping an eye on, has addressed, but what were some have online, and I've discussed with some, and one that struck me and which I accord, but not 100%, because that's you cannot say that that's one of the main factors for the downturn, which he stated, as gentleman and netizen stated, that it is because there has been no actual change after the 2007 2000 late July 2007 2010 great financial crisis and the bailout in 2008. There has been no real systemic change in the financial system in the United States, and of course the global financial system and the markets. And so his argument was that it's because it stems from that derailment and of course crisis, which was a tragedy for myself as well, as I was working and the hours were cut and so on and so forth. And millions of people but felt it, of course. Felt it. My prediction was that it's, and I don't like to be overly dramatic or to be a doom prophet of doom and gloom. However, my prediction last week was that there's a possibility, strong possibility, that the stock market will drop, go up and down in like we have never seen in waves, drop, go up, drop, go up, go drop, in very much fluctuations. And there's a possibility that by mid-June there's going to be a crash. Worst case scenario, the crash will trigger a global financial collapse. This is the worst case scenario. The other scenario is that there's going to be a stock market crash and that there's going to be another great recession. Of course, the worst case scenario is, of course, a deep recession, like we've seen in 1929 on Black Monday and Black Tuesday in October, when stock markets had reached their apogee, meaning the highest level ever, and then in a few days they started dropping tremendously. But my primary take is that we're going to see waves of up and down in, of course, North American markets and the world, which is, of course, connected. But worst case scenario, mid-June, stock market crash, triggering a global financial crisis, which we will need radical solutions. And myself have some theories, during the time that I've been struck with illness for several years, spent much time in the libraries of the city of Montreal, where we reside on the island, and I've read lots of economic theory, financial books on finance, the universe of finance and banking and such, and could say that I'm still learning as I'm speaking, of course, but have written some theories that might be able to help, and of course are also based on other great economic thinkers and financiers and people in the world of finance and economics, just Thomas Piketty and others. Now, I want to show you something and want to discuss it. And if you are a space enthusiast, ta-da! Then on October 1986, the National Geographic, and not sponsored by the National Geographic, however, do love to read it sometimes. It's the Time magazine and Financial Times and what have you. The National Geographic, Soviets in Space. And the article is National Geographic October 1986, volume 170, number 4, Soviets in Space, Are They Ahead? And of course it documents I was young and still am, but now as I'm healing, getting my interests back to unpolluted externals. So it's big pages down. So those were the rockets, comparing the rockets, and this is of course the Soviet rockets. And of course there's a lot of, the article is pretty extensive, however old, but the main premise, of course, it's a question, it's an article it's a question. But the world's busiest spaceport was indeed in the Soviet Union, and it was a cosmodrome. The cosmodrome also serves as a launch site for many of the 400 missiles tested each year, 40 times the average US test figure. Just read that one more time. The cosmodrome also serves as a launch site for many of the 400 missiles tested each year, 40 times the average US test figure. The cosmodrome also serves as a launch site for many of the 400 missiles tested each year, 40 times the average US test figure. Of course, I'm not a Soviet enthusiast. However, there was some merit, of course, in the movement that was known as socialism, and myself believe in balance, in harmony, of course. And as we can see that there was something very good about the Soviet Union, and that was its space program. And I'm not gonna read from it now, but a generation after Sputnik, October 1986, and what do you think? Were they ahead at one point? Certainly at one point they were. However, when was that exactly? Leave it up to you to decide. And that was the main discussion for Coffee with Dragan. Yours truly, citizen of the world, poet, greatest living poet, artist, and also independent fitness instructor on and a very spiritual world citizen. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna wrap it up and wish you all the best. I'm working to build this channel. I'm working on capabilities of acquiring a laptop in order to live stream, as I'm using now this laptop of my friend. So it's a loan, and at the moment unemployed, and so I'm looking for opportunities, financial, artistic, and entrepreneur. And so accept gracefully, and do bless ye, that you shall be blessed threefold in return for any financial aid that you do give. So if you don't decide to give, may it be returned unto you threefold. Coffee with Dragan. Looking for questions, topics, suggestions that you want to discuss, and any such endeavors. By the way, if you're wondering, this is Cuban coffee from Cuba, raw. Sometimes put a little bit of sugar, a little bit of honey. If we do have, at the moment don't have any honey, a little bit of milk, depends. But this time we are drinking it raw, being black. Definitely not raw, but processed and of course well crushed. Come have a coffee. Coffee with me. Coffee with Dragan. Unedited, real life, raw.